You called for Don Lemon's arrest over his church stunt in Minneapolis. He's since called you racist, unhinged, homophobic, and out of your depth. Anything you'd like to say to Don Lemon?
Cocksucker, stop.
Child, so get on your knees. Lamont just got arrested and is sitting in custody right now, and the internet is going insane. So from storming a church with cameras to beefing with Nicki Minaj to two judges refusing to sign off on his arrest warrant to finally getting taken into custody while covering the Grammys in LA. So this whole situation spiraled out of control fast. I got the full timeline, the legal breakdown, and why this might be the biggest fall from grace we've seen in media this year. Let's get into it. So in my last video, I broke down how Don Get On Your Knees Lamont barged into that church in Minnesota with his camera crew during an active religious service to live stream an anti-ICE protest, and how Nicki Minaj called him out, which led to him going on TMZ calling Nicki ignorant, bigoted, and suggesting that she's only supporting Trump to get a pardon for her husband. Mind you, you cannot get a pardon for something that you've already served time for. So if you missed that, go watch that video because the context is important. But it's what happened after that's where the story gets absolutely wild. So after Get On Your Knees, Lamont went on TMZ and doubled down on attacking Nicki. The Department of Justice got involved, not because of the Nicki beef, but because of what he did at that church. Megyn Kelly, who's a legal analyst and former journalist herself, broke down exactly why Get On Your Knees, Lamont was in serious legal trouble. So she posted a whole thread explaining that churches have got statutory protection under the FACE Act, the Freedom of Access to Clinic Act, which makes it a federal crime to disrupt or interfere with religious services or block parishioners from accessing their place of worship. Get On Your Knees Lamont walked into a church during an active service, stuck a microphone in people's faces without permission, and disrupted the entire thing for his YouTube channel and his live stream. Megyn saying Get On Your Knees Lamont had no First Amendment right to do what he did, no journalistic pass, nothing. So if Get On Your Knees Lamont had stayed on the sidewalk like journalists are supposed to do when covering events on private property, this would have been a different story, but he did not. He trespassed into a church during a service which invoked rock-solid rights of the church goers. People were scared, people were hurt, and he knew what he was doing because his own comments on camera proved he knew he was crossing a line, but then he went ahead and did it anyway. And when people started pointing out the fact that he was going to get persecuted, he decided to double back. So he knew that he was going to get sued, and he's definitely going to get sued for a lot of money because churches do not play when it comes to their protections. And Don violated multiple federal laws in one live stream. And the pastor at the church actually told him that what he was doing was not right, but he got everything on tape. Child, he is going down. But here's where it gets messy. So the DOJ moved to arrest Don Lemon. My goodness, the DOJ moved to arrest Get On Your Knees Lamont, but the warrant had to be signed by a judge in order for that to be executed. And not one, but two judges initially refused to sign that arrest warrant. Now that had people confused because his counterparts that he actually stormed inside the church with, some of them did get arrested, but Get On Your Knees Lamont was not arrested. So why would two judges refuse? So there was speculation that it's because Get On Your Knees Lamont still had connections, still had people in powerful positions who didn't want to see him go down like this, or maybe the judges felt that the optics of arresting a prominent black journalist, even though he clearly broke the law, would look bad politically. So either way, those two judges said, no, you're not going to arrest Don Lemon. But the DOJ did not give up because they empaneled a grand jury, and the grand jury voted and said, okay, yeah, go and arrest Get On Your Knees Lamont. And that is how they got him. So the thing is that Get On Your Knees Lamont thought that he was untouchable. He thought that his media connections and his platform would protect him. So he kept posting, kept doing interviews, and he kept coming after Nicki Minaj hard, even though Nicki actually never gave him or paid him any attention after that tweet. So he kept on acting like nothing was going to happen. He even flew to LA to cover the Grammys like everything was normal. And Matt Walsh, who's been following this story closely, also tweeted and said, I'm very happy that Get On Your Knees Lamont was arrested, but there is one extremely important caveat now that it's been done. He has to be convicted and sent to prison for an extended length of time. If he's not convicted or not seriously punished, then this whole thing is an equivocal win for him. It makes him a martyr and 10 times more famous with no significant consequences. End quote. And he is absolutely right. So if Get On Your Knees Lamont gets arrested, he got arrested, but if he doesn't face real consequences, if he gets the get out of jail free card, He will spin this into I was arrested for standing up for immigrants or I was silenced for speaking truth to power. So he was going to get book deals, speaking engagements, maybe even another show on a different network. So the arrest would actually help his career if there's no serious punishment. But if he does get convicted and sentenced to actual prison time, child, that's a different story. So that sends a message that nobody, not journalists, not celebrities, not political activists, are above the law. You can violate federal statutes protecting religious freedom just because you have a camera and a YouTube channel. So what's wild to me is how Don Get On Your Knees Lamont went from being a CNN anchor to this, child. You know CNN? So he lost his CNN job, started his own YouTube channel and show, and has been trying to rebuild his brand as this independent voice speaking truth for other people. But instead of doing actual journalistic work, he crossed the legal and the ethical lines that got him arrested. And the Nicki Minaj situation actually made it worse for him because when Nicki caught him out and he responded by attacking her on TMZ, it put even more eyes on what he did at the church. So people started digging into the footage, legal experts started weighing in, and suddenly Get On Your Knees Lamont couldn't hide behind I was just doing journalism. So the evidence was too clear, the evidence that he basically provided himself and he filmed himself, and the violations, child, were just way too blatant. Now he saw all this, and like I earlier mentioned, and he decided to backtrack and say that he doesn't know those people and he's not affiliated with them. Now we wait to see what happens in court. Will he be convicted? Will he get prison time? Or will he walk away with minimal consequences and turn this into a comeback story? So the legal experts seem to think that the case against him is strong, the video evidence is damning, the FACE Act violations are clear, and the church has every right to press charges and best believe they're gonna sue his ass. So nothing's guaranteed. However, what is guaranteed is that Get On Your Knees Lamont's reputation is permanently damaged. He was a nobody before Nicki called him out, before that whole situation. But now, child, even if he beats the case, everybody knows what he did. But child, what do you guys think about this? I want to know your thoughts on this. So drop your thoughts in the comments if you actually think he's gonna serve time, or if you think he's just gonna get off easy and spin this into a whole comeback story. And let me know if you all think Nicki calling him out actually played a role in him finally getting arrested, because the timing is very, very interesting. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell because the story is far from over and we're going to be covering every update. So until my next time, you guys, stay messy.